Hey friends, did you know that Medium Curious is brought to you by VerySoul? VerySoul is a platform where everyone can receive a free mediumship reading. And it provides us... What? Yeah, free. Really. And it provides a safe place for mediums in training to go practice, but also practice.
Yes, mediums need practice.
Yes, we do.
But did you know that VerySoul upholds vigorous standards for their working mediums? By requiring compelling evidence in every session, they ensure consistent, reliable, and meaningful experiences for every client. So go to verysoul.com, mediums you can trust. Hey, everybody. We're so excited to bring you our podcast today. But before we start, we would love it if you would subscribe, follow, download, rate us, comment. It would help us enormously. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jane.
And I'm Sarah.
And you're listening to the Medium Curious podcast, the show that wants you to know that the other side is not very other.
No. It's right here with us.
That's right. Both sides now.
Both sides now. And we have the perfect person on to speak about that. Her name's Rachel Stewart, and she is an ambassador of spirit and an Instagram influencer who has started this whole movement, sharing signs, synchronicities, stories from spirit, and you'll meet her. She's just magic.
She's like magic in a bottle called the body.
Yes.
Yep. All right, let's meet her. Here we go. Hi, Rachel. We're so excited to meet you.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. Thank you, guys.
Well, I have been just delighted by your Instagram account, which is what brought my attention to you. Can you tell us what your Instagram account is?
Yes, it's 411 together is how you would find our page. It's FOR, the number 11 _together. So I always say it takes a little bit of work to get to us, but I promise it's totally worth it in the end.
It totally is.
Yes, totally worth it. But yeah, our page is, well, we didn't know what it was when we started it, but it was inspired from our daughter across the veil. And we knew we were supposed to launch it because she told us to launch it, but we didn't know what it was. And so it was just this huge practice of faith and trust and going with the flow, which felt exciting but scary, all the things.
Yeah.
But we launched it, and again, we didn't know what it was, but we had 200 loyal local followers, like our friends and family, you know. And we're from this teeny tiny little farm town in Washington State, and so I felt like the whole community followed us just to like show us their love, and it was so sweet. And I thought, okay, but like, it was very slow. Like we celebrated when we hit 411 followers on Instagram. And we were like, we know this is not a big deal in Instagram land, but here it feels important. So that was fun. And then Kennedy, my daughter across the veil, told me what to post. And I posted it, and we gained 20,000 followers from one post.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow, she totally did that. And that was fun. And so it really reminded me that she is going to be there every step of the way, and to turn to her and to the rest of my spirit team for guidance with 411. And so I say that they're nudging me. I'm trying to follow every single nudge that I get, because that's when the like magic finds me.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
So yeah, so that's what we're doing. And right now we're being nudged to share. We started with our stories of connection. That's what we call them. And they're the moments, like those goosebump stories where you know that your loved one across the veil, or
goosebumps.
I know. I keep getting them.
Or an angel, or whoever your spirit guide with Jesus, whatever you're wanting to connect with. Those moments when you know they are there. When the proof comes, when the sign comes, and you don't want to deny it, but you can't, because you've got the goosebumps all over your body. Right. You feel it in your soul and your heart, and you're just like, that's them. That's Kennedy. She is right here. So we shared our stories. That's what we started with. And then the team told me to share other people's stories. And I thought, how am I going to do that? Because I would put it out there for our followers. If you have a story, send it in. I'd love to share it. And like, nobody was really, it was crickets.
Yeah.
Like, but they're telling me to. So
yeah.
I thought, gosh, I don't know how to do this because I'm trying to follow the nudge. And then I reached out. They told me to reach out to one of the followers who had told me a private story. I knew she had stories of connection. So I reached out and asked her if she was comfortable with me talking about her little boy across the veil. And she said, absolutely. And she gave me the most beautiful stories. And the moment that we put those out there, it's just been a floodgate and people are just, it's just funny. I've got to tell you, I took mediumship courses and I realized that I could connect across the veil. I was connecting with other people's deceased loved ones. My husband's like, you are so good at this. This must be your path. I'm like, yeah, this is totally my path. And then one day I was like, oh no, this isn't my path because I felt it. Either they would have let me know if that was meant to be my path. I would have felt it. And one day it was just like, oh shoot, it's not. Now what? Because I was so excited that I figured out my path. And now I realize that sharing these moments of these stories of connection, these moments that happen is giving the other side their voice back because they get to tell their stories in a different way. Yeah. And they're so excited and I can feel that and I can feel their love for their loved ones while I'm telling the stories. Sometimes I get emotional. I get to feel it all. It's so exciting and I love it. And then I realize that's part of the path. And then helping other people feel like live this connected way is also part of the path, and helping people heal their shattered hearts because I know what that feels like and I know what helped me and I know how alone I felt. So figuring out how to help people that are walking similar paths, or just not that you have to lose a loved one to feel this way. You can just be feeling lost in life in general, just feeling like there's got to be more than this, that sort of a feeling. Yeah. I feel like the things that we found along the way helped us with those feelings as well, not just the deep grief. And so 411 is like turning into all of this stuff and I am here for every second of it. I am loving it. I feel like they show me like the glimpses of the future and it's kind of unbelievable to where I'm like, come on guys, like, I don't know, that feels far-fetched. But then something magical happens, like the 20,000 followers from one post sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, maybe we really can help millions of people someday, which actually with social media, I mean, millions of people are viewing these stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, they showed me like, your guys at like 411 can help millions of people. They showed me that before we even launched it. And we were in this, like I said, this teeny little town. I'm like, how in the world will that ever happen? And I guess they know. I don't know. So that's what's happening.
You've been following the nudges. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's like? How do you do that for people that don't know what that means? Sure. What do you do when you follow the nudge?
Right. Well, it took me a while to get to this place where I'm talking about it like it's just so easy, like everybody, and it is. But for me, there were some things I had to work through first. And then once I figured out how to connect across the veil, then I'm like, oh, this is so easy. Everybody can do this. Because, I didn't know that I wasn't born with abilities like a lot of people are, where they're, seeing their deceased grandpa sitting on the end of their bed, giving them a lecture about something or whatever. I never had those experiences. I never felt spiritually connected to anything. Actually, I didn't know what I believed in. When Kennedy passed, I didn't know if I believed in the afterlife or a afterlife. I didn't know if heaven was real. I wanted to believe. I wanted to know that all those things existed, but it was really scary. I had no clue if I would ever see my daughter again, which is a terrible place to be when you lose a child. Yep. And so finding out that she still existed through a medium, through a reading, was the spark. It was the moment. It was that, aha, holy moly, she's still here. I am going to figure out a way to get to her.
Whoa.
Yeah. I knew.
When you just said that, just like, oh, I feel her. She's so brilliant and beautiful.
She's so strong, and she's so loving and so kind, and everybody can feel her energy. And I get messages all the time like, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I swear I can feel Kennedy. I'm like, no, you're not nuts. Yeah. I accept that completely. But I didn't know how. I always say that that's when she was whispering like, Mommy, I'm right here. Come find me. But I didn't know how to hear her yet. So then she would guide me. All of a sudden, I just felt nudged. I just felt like I heard someone say that they started feeling connected to their loved one when they started meditating. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I started meditating, and nothing was happening for quite a while. But what was happening during that time is I was practicing because, everybody thinks you have to meditate to silence the mind. A lot of people say that. They talk about it. You have to do it for hours and silence the mind, like the meditation guru people. And I had I didn't have hours to spend. My mind was just racing every time I was doing it. I was hearing lots of thoughts, and I couldn't get to a place where there were zero thoughts. And now I realize I wasn't meant to get to that place. I was meant to start listening. Like, I think of meditation as a practice of listening instead of a practice of silencing. Yeah. I got so good at listening to my own thoughts that when Kennedy put a thought in my mind, I was like, oh, that's not my thought. That felt different.
Yes.
And so for a long time, but it was hard for me to accept that. It just felt like I was making it all up. Yeah. Like, oh, she's there, but it's just because I want her to be there. We're having a conversation that I'm making all this up. But then I would tell my husband something about it, like, oh, yeah, she's there. And all of a sudden she's showing me a frog in her hand. And I was like, yeah, it was pretty random. He's like, that's weird. I found a frog in a really weird place today. And I would go, that is weird. And then the next time she would be like eating a chocolate chip cookie, and I would mention it to him. And he was like, that's weird. I bought a cookie today from some random place. He doesn't normally do that, and ate it in the truck on the way back home. And so it was like, wait, am I really connecting with her? And it was like little breadcrumb moments where, I had big ahas that came later, but those were the ones that were like, is this possible? Is this something I could do? But I need so much proof. I was ridiculous. Yeah. It was like, thanks, that's awesome, but I need more. Yeah. I just constantly did that. And so, but I felt like along the way I was nudged to other things, like try this. I started using oracle cards every day. And I felt like that was a fun way for me to receive messages from my team. So I started getting more comfortable with them from using the cards. So I don't think you need tools like cards, but for me, it was a pivotal step in my process to feel that connection with them. So I still use cards all the time. And usually it just confirms what I'm already feeling in my heart that I'm ignoring, like, because I'm just busy doing stuff or whatever. And I'll pull a card and be like, I know, I know exactly what this is about. Totally. But they also, before we launched 411, I pulled a card almost daily that said, take the leap, take the leap. And then we launched it and I didn't pull it again until we started to, like, something else started growing in my heart with 411, a new direction. And then all of a sudden take a leap started coming. And I'm like, okay. So there were nudges and whispers along the way, and I followed all of them right to her.
Oh, Rachel, that is so beautiful.
Oh, thanks. I'm so happy that I learned that I was open enough to do that. Yeah. But, I should tell you. So I've got to tell you this story. So I didn't find her right away. I found the rest of my team first. It was all by design, because if I had found Kennedy on day one, I would have been done. Like, there she is. I wouldn't have been open to anybody else. They would have had a very hard time getting to me because I would have been like, go away, angels, go away, guide, like, I just want my daughter. And so I found all these other people and beings first, and then there she was. But I started realizing that I have this team on the other side, and that they're there to help me, and that they can make life so much better. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start listening to you instead of pretending like you don't exist, like I have my whole life. And so I told them I wanted to work with them. I go to this yoga class and the woman says that there's going to be a winter solstice ceremony in a couple days in the neighboring town. And I felt it. I was like, I'm supposed to go to that. And I get out to the car and I looked in at my calendar and I had something scheduled at the same time. I had a massage that had been scheduled for a couple months. The woman's tough to get into. I wasn't going to cancel on her. So I said, hey, if I'm really supposed to go to this thing, you guys are going to have to reschedule my massage for me. The morning of the massage therapist reaches out to me and she says, I know you were on the schedule, but for some reason, your name is now not on the schedule. And another man took your spot.
Oh my
So you
God.
can't even take your spot back. So she said, I'll come in an hour early today if you're available to, and I'll do it this morning.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, but this is what my team is dealing with. So I'm driving to the massage and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go to the session or to the ceremony.
Still.
I was like, because I was a recluse after Kennedy passed. It was hard to go out into the world.
Of course.
Everywhere I went, because we're from a small town, we were very famous for very sad reasons.
Yeah.
So everywhere I went, there were whispers and stares, and I was just like on the brink of losing it at all time, and I didn't want to lose it in public. I was trying to protect myself. So I was like talking myself out of going to the ceremony. So I said, if I'm really, really meant to go to the ceremony, I need to hear, because I'd never heard winter solstice before in my life. So I didn't even know what winter solstice was. I said, I need to hear it one more time today because it's winter solstice. I should be able to hear it. So I turned on the radio. They never mentioned winter solstice. I thought, okay, I guess I'm not going. Go into my massage. I'm face down on the table. The massage therapist is like a couple minutes late, like after I'm all ready. She took her a couple minutes to come in there. She goes, sorry about that. I was reading something about this winter solstice, and she starts talking about it. And I'm like, my face is here. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go to this thing today. And so I come home and I change and I go back and I pull into the parking lot and I'm a little bit early and I start talking to my team, which this was a new thing for me at the time. And I'm talking out loud to them. And I'm like, you guys must be so frustrated with me because I told you I want your help. You guided me to it. I told you to reschedule. You've rescheduled. And then I made you do something else. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try my best to not do that anymore. And as I'm saying this, a car pulls up, parks a few cars down from me. And I can hear their music, bumping, like the bass is bumping. Yeah. So they were listening to something real loud, but I couldn't make out what the song was. And I'm paying no attention to them. So I keep talking to them. So I'm like, I promise I'm going to listen to you guys. I'm going to tune into you. I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to follow it. And I'm making all these promises to them. And then I look at the clock. I'm like, oh, okay, it's time. I need to go in. I had like some anxiety. Okay, I've got it. So I open up the door and I walk by the car and it's still bumping its music. And the song that was playing on their radio that they had cranked was Hallelujah. And right after I said, I'm going to listen to you guys, I'll do it. I hear Hallelujah. It's like, wow. And I stood in front of this car and I looked up and I just start laughing. I probably looked like a total psychopath. And I was like, good one. I said it out loud. I'm like, that was impressive. And I went in there and it was just what my heart needed that day was that ceremony. Oh. And it's not like, oh, that healed everything, but something in there. It's like, my heart was shattered. So it was like little pieces needed to like be put together. And that ceremony put one little piece back together. Yeah. And that's what I needed. But I also just needed to like give in to what I wanted to really do.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice that the guides were down for the treasure hunt. But maybe that was the whole purpose, right? Was that you needed to go on a treasure hunt for your guides or they needed to do one for you. But I'm so impressed and like amazed at your ability to hand it over. Like, it just sounds like hallelujah, right? Like you really are able to like hand it over.
Yes.
Good well, for you, honey.
There's ups and downs in my life still. And, not just with the emotional ups and downs that I still go through, but just where I'll think, gosh, life has felt hard lately. And then I'm like, I haven't been tuning in. I haven't been connecting as much as I normally do. And I'm like, I know better. I know that life is just better when I'm living that connected way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why do I venture off? I'm not quite sure, but they always welcome me back. So that's good.
Of course. I know. It's so good to know.
Yes.
Right. May I ask a quick question, Rachel? I know that you've just done a beautiful job of like telling the story and explaining how you connect, but could you be like really didactic and like precise? Could you say like, I close my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think
yes. Yes, there is a practice so when 411 came to be, and then we were out there on social media, then a lot of people started reaching out to us, right? And they were like, how do you do this? And I realized that there was a lot that got me to this point. And so, there is one specific practice that I'm going to tell you that's a fun one, but I do want to encourage people or to let them know that if they do this and they feel that connection, awesome. But if they don't, it's okay. Like, I believe everyone can connect. I am 100% sure on that. That's one of the truths that I feel so right in my heart, that if you want to connect, there is a way for everyone to connect. But I don't think it's everybody's path. But anyways, so I'm not here to convince people they should be living this way. I'm just thinking, or I'm just wanting to make sure that people know that they are capable of doing this. But when I thought about the early days, so it looks different as you develop the skill to connect. Like, I'm just driving down the road now and messages are popping in. I'm just pretty connected at all times to them. But in the early days, I would say there was this thing that I was doing that I didn't even realize I was doing. And I would sit down, like in this chair, getting ready to meditate to feel more connected to them. That's what I was trying to do. That was my hope. And now I call it it's like 3, 2, 1, believe. And I just talk about this on the page because I feel like that helps. Oh, what just happened? You look so excited, Jane. We'll talk later, but yes.
It's the 3, 2, 1. She's writing it down. She's writing it down.
Okay.
Yep.
So what it is the 3 represents 3 deep breaths, because it's at least 3. It's just reminding you to calm your senses, to calm we're really busy. Life is really busy. So I think ahead of time, taking those 3 breaths and making sure that the exhalation is at least 1 second longer than the inhale. So for instance, you can inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 5 seconds. And that triggers your parasympathetic nervous system to just relax. It's letting you know, because you're not going to be breathing like that if you're running from a tiger, right? So this is just a very simple, fast way to let your body know you are safe. And it is okay to relax and to calm down. So I feel like that's just a simple way to do it. But I feel like it's a key part to the puzzle. So the 3 breaths, that's what 3 represents. 2 is 2 feet on the ground or on the floor, but you can do it laying down. But that's what I just want people to remember that. So 2 feet down, because I think, and I say this so often on the page, that the 411 followers are going to be like, if she says this one more time, but I believe the deeper the roots, the taller the tree.
Oh, that's so good.
I think if I forget to go, you can do the physical things, go outside, get grounded in nature, things, but you don't have to. You can be in your home.
Yeah.
Picture yourself getting anchored into the ground. So those 2 feet on the floor, I just picture vines coming out of the bottom of my feet. This is all in my imagination. I don't have to see it. I'm just trusting that it's happening. It's shooting down through the rock, the soil, the rocks, whatever, getting to the middle of the earth, wrapping around the earth. And then that energy is just pulling up into my body and I'm instantly grounded. Yeah. I just trust it. I believe it. And now I can open myself up. And the one is like the one connection to source, because we all have it. I picture it at the top of my head. I picture the funnel opening up, or, my head opening up like a funnel. And all I do, and it's so simple. And I want everybody to just know how simple this is I just put my focus there. It's like, and I believe that our bodies are the veil. So everyone's across the veil. It's just right.
So perfect.
Here.
That is true. That's absolutely true. Our bodies are the veil.
Yes. Yeah, because we can't see them because we're looking through our human filters. That's the eyes and we can't always hear them. Not real audible. I mean, sometimes, but not usually. You can't see them, hear them, whatever, because we're looking through our human eyes and listening with our ears, right? So when you put your focus right here, what you're doing is just connecting to your higher self. You've got all of it's up here already. A little teeny tiny portion of your soul is inside your body. That's what I believe. And I think the rest of you is connected to everything that is and that will ever be, where all of the answers are, where all your loved ones are and guides and all of those people. It's right here. And also everywhere else. But I mean, you can just picture them being right here. And so when you tune into that, to your higher self, that's where all the magic lives. That is it. So when I tune in there, then the last step is believe. Because if you don't believe that you can do it, that connection exists, then you are literally closing yourself off to the connection.
Yeah. So the belief is what keeps it open, right?
The belief is what allows the whole thing to go. And I don't say go into it with just, I was skeptic, and I think that's important because they had to prove things to me. I asked for proof. And for me, that was really, I didn't have blind faith.
Yeah.
And some people do, and that's great. And and they're so connected that they have that blind faith and they just feel it in their hearts and they accept it. That's awesome. That wasn't me. Like I needed Kennedy to show me proof. And then when Jesus showed up in a meditation, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm not going to tell anybody about that ever. Like that is nuts. But then he just kept showing up and I was like, oh, you're supposed to be a part of this, aren't you? I was like, oh my goodness, you need to show me a lot of proof because you're going to make me sound crazy. Like this.
Can you give us some of the proof that Jesus gave you?
Yes.
Okay. Wait. Sorry, sorry, y'all. Before we jump into Jesus, thank you. I just want to say thank you for that amazing breakdown, because I think that's really helpful to our listeners.
It's
but
brilliant.
I just wanted to point out that when you were saying here, she was just pointing just above you were pointing just above your head, like 5 inches above your head. Because I just wanted to clarify for the listeners, like you would go here.
Yes.
In case they don't see the YouTube.
That's smart.
That
Thank
was
you.
6 minutes. Like that's the here. It's just right above your head, or kind of 7th chakra.
Or just outside of just off the top of your head. That's where you put your focus. It's just, it's such a simple, you can even tilt your head and go up a little bit, just push your focus just outside of your, I'm just, yes. And then
like a little antenna has gone up.
Yes. Yeah. And trust that you're there, and don't worry about, you are still so grounded to the earth that I do all this stuff and I never am worried about losing this connection that I have here. I have one foot firmly planted on the ground, and then I have one foot that is dangling on the other side all the time, and that's what lets all the magic in. And I'm I'm gonna live that way forever. And it just makes sense because I do have a daughter on the other side. So why wouldn't I want
to live
some of my energy
straddling it, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's the magic. That's my recommendation for people if they feel the nudge, is to figure out a way to be connected to both sides so that you can feel the magic that we came here for a reason.
Yeah.
So there's magic here on earth, that it is beautiful. There's the ups and the downs and the lessons that we're learning and all these things. I obviously signed on for this. I was nuts, but I totally,
you agreed to it beforehand, but
yes. Yeah. So I told my husband, I was like, we are bad A's because
totally.
You and I looked at each other and we were like, let's do this. This will be fun. This will be a fun little challenge. So I'm
100%. I believe that exactly.
We did that.
Yes.
Yes. So anyways,
okay.
But back to Jesus. You're welcome. Back to Jesus. Such a beautiful thing here. Yeah. Back to Jesus. So Jesus, he actually showed up in my life before the connection even happened. Kennedy introduced me to him through a dream that she had.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't know who he was. We were not religious at all. And, still aren't a part of any organized religion or anything like that. So Jesus was completely absent from her life growing up. And it was a couple summers before she passed away. And she'd already had cancer once when she was 2, but she had treatment for it. We thought she'd beaten it. We thought she'd gotten past it. We were still fearful, but feeling pretty good about things. And she came up to us and said she had this dream. And she had some connection stuff when she was young. Like when her great grandpa passed away, he came to her in a dream. She saw angels in her room, above her bed and things like that. And when she was little, and actually asked them to go away because they freaked her out. And they did.
Yeah.
So, I knew she was connected. So she had this dream, and this man in the garage, she was in the garage, and she looked out the window, and there was a really bad storm coming, and she was afraid. And this man showed up, and he was standing right next to her, and he told her that she didn't need to be afraid, that he would stay by her side through the storm. And then he invited her over with these other kids that were all surrounding him, and he was just sharing a story with her. And she said she joined the other kids, and I said, did the storm go away? And she said, no, it was still coming, but I wasn't afraid anymore.
Oh.
And that was the end. She got up and went and played with her sister. And I looked at Shane like, oh no, because I didn't want there to be a storm coming.
Yeah.
And so we kind of exchanged this look of like, uh-oh. And then I said, was that Jesus? It was like, that's weird, because she described what he looked like.
Yeah.
And it was like the stereotypical
yeah.
way that we think of Jesus, or at least that I had thought of Jesus. So I was like, that's strange. So then I'm driving down the road, and a little while later, that same summer, I believe. And I said, I need to know that there's more. I'd never asked for a sign in my whole life. I'd never talked to anybody else. Like I'd never done anything like this. And I said, I need to know that there's more. I need a sign, but I need it like slapped on my face. I am living my life oblivious to all of this. So you're going to have to make it really, really obvious. Right then a car pulls out in front of me. I had to slam on my brakes. I was doing 60 miles an hour. It was close. So I was mad.
Yeah.
And so all this connection, whatever I had been feeling before was gone. And I'm following this car, and it comes to a stop at a stoplight. And they had one bumper sticker on the back of their car. And I crept up so I could see what this jerk had to say, because I was like, oh, I'm sure it's like the dumbest bumper sticker of all time, because I'm furious at this person. And I get close enough to read it. And all it says is, Jesus is real.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, I did ask for it to be slapped on my face. So I'm like, yeah. So
on your
I was like, wow. Yeah. So I started feeling, but then I didn't feel connected to him. And after she passed, honestly, remembering the dream that she had was not comforting to me at all. Yeah. I wanted to be with her.
Yeah.
And I wanted her here.
Yeah.
So the thought of her being with some dude across the veil, like
Jesus or not, right.
Yeah. That just didn't comfort me.
Yeah.
I just, he wasn't, my heart wasn't open to him.
Yeah.
So that just didn't help me. And then my husband says, I'm meditating. This is a few years later. So, 2.5 years after Kennedy passed away, and I've been meditating for quite some time. And now I'm feeling connected. That summer I met my guide. I actually think that it was Jesus, but at the time I didn't think it was Jesus. But anyways, I met my guide. I was starting to feel more connected, and I was meditating every day. And my husband's a commercial fisherman, and he was having a really tough season. And he said, I was meditating before we took off to go fishing. Mila and I would go with him every night to fish. And he said, hey, ask the team where I can find some fish. And I said, oh, okay, I don't think that's how it works, but I'll give it a try. So I'm meditating, and Jesus shows up, and I'm like, no way. Like this, I'm totally fine with angels and with my guide and all of this. But then I knew that this person was Jesus, and I was like, that's crazy. So he tells me that he's going to help Shane find the fish that night. I go out and I tell Shane, you're never going to believe this. But I think Jesus just showed up and he says he's going to help you find fish tonight. I'm thinking he's going to like, not laugh at me, but just laugh like, yeah, okay, you know? And he just looks at me like, dead serious. He just looks me right in the face, dead serious look on his face. And he says, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
And I said,
aren't there so many stories in the Bible about Jesus and fishing?
Yeah,
I've heard that, but
yeah,
fish.
Okay, keep going.
But I didn't know that at the time. But I was like, yeah. So anyways, I was like, wait, you believe that was Jesus that showed up? He was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Like Shane was totally on board with Jesus being in my life. I was like, okay. So that night he's looking for fish, can't find them anywhere. And he looks at me, he says, I thought Jesus was going to help me tonight. I said, oh, okay, fine. So I'm like tuning in to Jesus's energy while I'm on the boat. And I said, he says to go over there. And it was like to a different spot, to a specific area. He showed me the specific area. So I tell my husband to go there. And it's totally opposite tides of where the fish should be. So Shane was like, yeah, and it's hours out of his way to go there. And he fishes every night. It's like he goes out to fish and then he comes home. He's not like gone up in Alaska, right? So, now we're going to be getting home at 5 a.m. or something if he goes that far out of the way. But Jesus told him to. So he was like, here we go. So he takes his boat over there and finds fish.
Oh. Rachel.
And, wow. Yes. And in fact, that night he couldn't make the haul because by the time I tuned in and we got there, the fish were washed up onto these rocks. But he went there the next night earlier in the night and he got a full load and got load after load after load that summer.
Whoa.
And yeah.
Way to go, Jesus.
Yeah. Thanks, Jesus. So that was cool. And then he would show up I felt him, but he wasn't like I wouldn't say he was a big part of my life. Then I started 411 and I was doing, I had learned how to do energy healing, where it connects with the angels energy. Uh-huh. And I had learned how to do that because of an experience that Shane and I both had with the session and then it was so powerful and life changing that Shane looked over at me and said, do you want to learn how to do that? Cause I'm into this stuff. And I said, yes. So I had learned how to do it. We launched 411 and the team tells me to offer this energy healing work. I have never even talked about that I'm doing I am in the spiritual closet. I haven't opened up. And the only followers that we had were the local followers. So I was like, nobody from here is going to be interested. This is I don't know. It was hard for me. But I put it out there and just offered this free group remote energy healing session. And 30 people signed up out of we had 200 or so followers. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Cool. Yeah. So that was really neat. And my friend, the day before the remote session was going to happen, she found out from her parents that her dad had terminal cancer. She knew he had cancer, but it had progressed. And at that point, they knew that he only had a limited amount of time left. She asked him if he wanted to participate in an energy healing. And he was like, I'll do anything. He was really scared at the time. And he'd never tried anything like that. So she tells me he's going to be joining. That changed everything. I mean, for me, that put I was so afraid that I know what he was doing it for. I thought he wanted this miracle. Obviously, that's what he was doing it for. He wanted to survive. He wanted the miracle, but I didn't know if that was going to happen. And so I was scared.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of pressure.
So I asked my team and they were like, just do it, just do it. And I pulled a card and it said, expect miracles. I was like, oh, okay. But of course I wanted the miracle where he was going to survive. That was the miracle that I wanted, but I'm open to it. So I'm doing this session and an angel, and I feel the angel's energies and I see them, but this angel came behind me and entered my body, merged with me. And then I looked down and my arms were ginormous. I felt very masculine. And I was like, I am the angel at this moment. That's what happened. And that had never happened before. It's like, okay. And then all of a sudden I look down and I'm carrying her dad in my arms. And he's full, he looks little in my arms, but he's a full grown man.
Wow.
And I placed him down gently in the center of the circle. And it was everybody that was participating in the healing was around the circle and other angels. And then and then it was me, and I'm in the circle, and the energy gets really powerful. I'd never felt it so powerful before. So much so that like I had to separate my feet because I was like going to be knocked backwards. And I looked up, and across the circle from me is Jesus. And I said, "Are you going to merge your energy with me?" He goes, "I already am. That's what you're feeling." And I was like, totally freaking out. I was fangirling. I'm like, Jesus is here. Like, what is Jesus doing here? And his response was so loving and kind and like laughing at me, but not in a mean way.
Yeah.
But he was like, what are you like, why are you making such a big deal about this? Like, he's like, why wouldn't I be here? He's like, of course I would want to be a part of something that's healing and helpful. And, of course I would be here for anybody. And it was like, oh, okay. And so then in my mind, I just closed my eyes, and I'm just feeling it. Like, this is Jesus's energy that I'm getting to feel right now. Like, how lucky am I? And then the energy, and I had a timer set for the session, but my eyes were closed the whole time. So I had no idea what time it was. And I felt the energy slowly like dissipate, and then it just ended, and I knew that he was done. And I looked up at him, and he smiled and nodded at me and stepped out of the circle, and the timer went off.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I went out of the bedroom. My husband's like, how did it go? He's like all excited for me. And I'm sobbing. Like, I don't know if you guys had that after you gave birth to like children, but that emotion where you can't talk and you're just crying and you're like, like that's what was happening. I couldn't get the words out. I've only felt that joyous emotion 3 other times in my life. and it was when I gave birth to my kids every time. And finally it was like I was able to tell him what happened. And I went and I wrote down every detail before I forgot. I journaled it all. And I hadn't looked at my phone or anything. I get done journaling it, and there's a text message from my friend who had participated in it. And she said, I want to talk to you. What did you feel? I want to know what you felt, what you saw. And I said, can I call you? She said, yes. And I didn't tell her anything. I picked up the phone, called her. She said, something happened on my end. And I said, you tell me your story first. And she said, there was an angel, and he was carrying my dad.
Oh, wow.
And she said the angel was so big, and my dad looked so small in his arms.
Wow.
I lost it. I was
my God.
I will never doubt anything. Like, this was just magic. It was just so beautiful. And then her dad had fallen asleep. It was at night. It was like at 8:00 at night. So he just went to bed and just slept. And he was in a lot of pain, so he hadn't been sleeping well.
Yeah.
And he said that he slept so good, and that the next day he told her it felt like, because he was kind of in and out, and he felt like someone had lifted him up like off the bed. And I just couldn't. I mean, it was so much. It was so beautiful. And then and they've given me permission to share all this. And I talked with him so many times and did other sessions, and went to his home when he was getting ready to pass. And they told me that, and he did too, that the miracle that he received was that he wasn't afraid anymore.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Wow. Oh,
it was so cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
What
a gift. Yeah.
And then he actually, this part of the story is just so beautiful, but he kept telling my friend, his daughter, I wish there was a gift that I could give Rachel.
Aww.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you guys, like, I don't need a gift from you guys. Like, just having him tell me the things that he told me were gift enough, of course. And I just felt blessed to have been a part of any of that. And I'm in the room with him, and I was by myself at the time, and it was hours before he passed. And I was just putting that energy all around him, and he wasn't communicating at this point. So he was just, his eyes were closed. He was just asleep at this time. And all of a sudden I was standing with him, And then there was Kennedy, and I knew that I was in heaven with them, and I was in this field, and there were people around that I didn't know. And I said, "Oh, is this who came here to greet you?" And he said, "No, I've got something to show you that everybody gets wrong." And I said, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Show me." So he and Kennedy are walking in front of me, and we're walking through it became like a forest, but it was beautiful and, magical, and the birds were chirping and all of this. And then all of a sudden it was nighttime and there's a fire going, and it felt like a campground, like a really fun energy was all around us. And we walked up, and I look, and there's my friend and his daughter and her husband and her kids. And there's, Blaine is the man's name. His wife is there, and then his other son, and everybody's there, and everybody is very much still alive that is in the scene, but I was just in heaven. So I'm like, now I'm confused.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't get it. And he was like, "This is who's here to greet me." And then in that moment, it's hard to talk about, or it's hard to get it out, but it's so important, I think, for people that want to accept this as their truth too, because it changed my life. But in that moment, I saw Kennedy cross over, and she ran into my arms, and my husband's arms, and her little sister's arms, and even her little brother, who wasn't even born yet, was there. And I realized in that moment that she didn't go to heaven by herself, and it wasn't just a great grandparent that greeted her. I was with her every moment, every step of the way. And I just didn't know that. It was like, I was confused. I saw it all, and for a split second, I was confused. And then there was just this knowing, like I had known it for all eternity. It was just the truth. And I was like, how did I not realize that? Because I know that there's that higher part of me that's always connected. Right. But I never pictured myself being who had greeted her. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I turned and I looked at her. And at this point, it's been, a few years since she passed. It's been years, because this was last May, and she passed in 2018. And I've been connected with her for a long time. And I looked at her and I said, "Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" And she said, "Because he wanted to tell you." And that was his gift to me.
That was his gift. Oh.
And I was like, that was probably the part that shattered my heart the most when she passed away, was her going off to heaven without me. And that was the pole. That's the thing that wanted me, that I had to fight against, because all I wanted to do was to go with her, to protect her. And, we had another child here, and so I couldn't go with her, but it's just so unnatural. She was 10 years old
with your baby. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I felt like, whether it was a logical fear of mine, but I wanted her to know that I never left her, that I didn't abandon her. I felt like when she died, I abandoned her. And that just changed everything when I got to see that. It was like, so then the next day I'm sitting here thinking about, of course I'm still thinking about it. And I was like, it was almost like a shared death experience that I was given years after she died. And I'm thinking this, and then I pop up something on my phone, social media, and somebody starts talking about a shared death experience that her husband had with her mom when her mom passed away. Right then, like 5 minutes after I thought, it was almost like a shared death experience. And I read that and I went, it was a shared death experience. It was just not in the moment that she passed.
So can we tie this back to the beginning where I think we were actually talking about this before we started recording, how when we come to earth, when we incarnate to earth, only a part of our soul is inhabiting these little bodies of ours.
Yes.
And so our higher selves, our soul selves, that's what greeted Kennedy and and that experience that you had.
Absolutely. And that's why everybody can be connected at all times. Yeah. Because that's still there. And that's what was so funny with that's why I was so surprised that I hadn't put those two things together, but I wasn't meant to.
Yeah.
I was meant to feel it in that moment.
Yeah.
Blaine was meant to give that to me.
Such a beautiful way.
It was so beautiful and so impactful. And him giving me that gift right before he passed also gave his family a gift.
Yeah.
Because it was very comforting for them to know that they were all going to be greeting him there and they were all still together. Yeah. And so, he gave that to his family too. And it's not that knowledge isn't meant to take away all the pain.
Right.
It's just, I still feel that. And I feel like I've been given so many gifts that have helped ease that pain, but it's still there. I always say this, it gets brought up all the time, or I bring it up all the time, but I always say that I haven't moved past, if Jesus and Kennedy were standing in front of me and he said, I will give her back to you, but you have to give up every piece of knowledge that we've given you. You have to give up your connection to the other side, all of these magical things that make my life so amazing for you to have her back. You have to give it all up. I would say, done.
Yep. Give me back my baby. Yeah.
Give her back to me. I want to wrap my arms around her. I want to feel her here.
In the physical. Yeah.
Yep. So still working on that, and maybe it's supposed to be like that until I get to the other side. I don't know. Yeah. I felt total peace one time in a meditation, and that Jesus and Kennedy were in. And I feel like they allowed me to feel that. And maybe that was to tell me that it is possible, that maybe I will in this lifetime, like maybe I shouldn't shut myself off, because I always said I will never feel that total peace while I'm here on earth, because I will always miss her physical body and her soul, the experience that we were having.
Yeah.
But they let me feel
body.
Yes. And they let me feel that in a meditation. And I carried it with me for a little bit outside of the meditation, and I can tap into it. They let me kind of tap into that peace and that total understand. They gave me a total understanding of her passing, which was such a blessing. But I still want her back.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
So if anybody's keeping score or anything, I just want to make sure that everybody knows where I'm at here.
Yeah, you're not like, no, you get to have that for as long as you want that.
Every parent with a kid on the other side of the veil.
Yeah.
Would take that option. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's so interesting that, you were talking about our bodies being the veil, and it is that illusion of separateness caused by being in these bodies, but it is also why that temporariness of being in these bodies is so bittersweet and so just so profound in how we're experiencing ourselves as souls and being spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think nothing that I have felt it the way that I felt it because I'm human.
Yeah.
So obviously I wanted to feel all of this as a human.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's hard when you are the human to see that, to accept that. And actually through 411, when I say things like this, it does trigger some people, and I totally get it. And I get that they are not at the place in their journey, and maybe they never will be, where they accept that.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. It's totally fine. But I try to tune into to their perspective, to my higher self's perspective, because that's where I get it all. That's where I see the bigger picture, and where I understand the connection that I have with Kennedy now, the way that she's guiding us and helping us now, she could not have done if she were still here.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I know that was part of her journey and her path and our contract. I know that she was like, I'm going to help you guys out, but I have to do it in this way. And at the time I was like, okay, that sounds like a great plan.
Before you had a body and all this business.
Yes. But now while I'm here, I'm like, that was a ridiculous plan.
Yeah.
That was silly.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry to say this, beautiful women, but we have filled up the time, and it's just been an extraordinary ride. So, Sarah, I don't know if there's anything more. I know we could talk to you for hours. Rachel.
I know.
You're
I could listen to you
incredible.
for hours and hours. And I'm so grateful for the page that you have. I just want to say, I think for people sharing their stories about signs and what you provide is when you share it, it kind of makes it real. When you share it with other people and they hear your story, there's something about them acknowledging your putting together all of the signs that makes it real. So you give everybody an opportunity to do that in such a beautiful way. And so grateful for you.
Thank you for that
for
gift.
what you're giving. So
thank
wonderful.
You. Thank you. I love what we're doing with the page, and it's just the messages that we've received from people, and it just, you know, we even received a message from a woman saying that her little boy had passed, and she just couldn't go on. She'd made the choice that she was going to join him, and she feels like he guided her to the page and to this specific story that was the sign that he had been sending her to let her know that he was still with her, and she just wasn't accepting it. So she sent us a message to let us know that she was going to stay here, and she knows he's here with her.
Oh my God. You're literally saving lives. You are saving lives.
Well,
holy cow.
Genuinely. The team.
All of you. Your whole crew.
The spirit team is like doing its thing, and I'm just here to witness whatever they've got.
You're tilting your head up. You're tilting your head. You're doing your part. You're amazing.
Open. I accept whatever role I get to play in this. I am.
No.
Yes.
Incredible.
Let's do it.
You are amazing. Thank you so much. Well, we feel honored to have had you join us in our new season here on Medium Curious. And I just thank you for your beautiful work in the world.
Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Oh, right on. Take good care.
You too.
Bye.
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 Very Soul is our sponsor for Medium Curious. Jane and I are both Very Soul mediums.
Oh, yes, we are. Verysoul.com, y'all. Inspired by spirit, guided by love, and brought to life by mediums. Medium Curious is made possible
by Jane Morgan Editing.
Sarah Rathke made the amazing music. Mixed by Podcast Engineers.
And you can help Medium Curious by downloading the episodes.
And the dogs under the desk in Utah are Kalea and Domino.
And Trixie in California.